We'll get right into video 12 right away and start reading from the book. Isaac Newton and Gottfried Leibniz independently developed the mathematics of calculus in an attempt to study continuity. The math works great up to a point, at which point it only approaches a limit. Again, reality is there and not quite there at its most fundamental level. When approaching a limit, we jump from being infinitely far away to just calling it our desired location, since in our perceived world it is close enough. This is an amazing fact if you really think about it. We we can come close to reality but never quite get there, no matter how hard we try. It's the art over the typical science view of the world that I'm expressing here. It is something that cannot be entirely defined no matter how far into it you go. Absolute being's brilliant exceeds itself infinitely more every time that you try to say that you have defined it. It is the beauty of art that makes it so brilliant and amazing. It is science without any rules. It is John Wheeler, as he stated, law without law. It is as John Keats stated in Ode to a Grecian Urn, beauty is truth, truth beauty. Also, as Bertrand Russell said, quote, the more this problem is mediated, the more real it becomes. It cannot be defined. Its brilliance transcends itself. It approaches infinity in its magnitude and yet goes beyond magnitude. It is awe-inspiring to recognize, yet it is unrecognizable. Jump down, I think. Well, string theory suggests that our universe is built out of one-dimensional units of string which create motion, much like music create waves of musical notes. This is consistent with the notion that our world is made up of discrete waves of probability explained by quantum mechanics. It also attempts to unify the four forces of nature in one unified theory. This again supports the notion that our universe is created out of motion, and further supported by the claim of physicist Richard Feynman that matter was 99% empty. John Paul Sartre claimed that our true being is absolutely free in his book, Being and Nothingness. It is this unbounded being that is not constrained by limits. It is our eternal being, transcendent of space-time, that is at the core of all reality. It is the nothingness within the something that is its true nature. The Wheeler-DeWitt equation is believed to be the theory of everything. Since it does not include time in it, everyone has assumed that it must be wrong. Scientists have avoided infinity and zero by using a technique called renormalization, where a limit is used to get rid of the infinities. Richard Feynman called this dippy mathematics to arrive to answers that the human mind can comprehend. He later received the Nobel Prize for his work. God, uniting with God is the highest goal one could have. This is what gives life purpose. Without this vision, it would appear to our limited minds that reality is some random, insignificant accident. It requires faith to pursue this goal, since our limited minds could never conceive of the unlimited nature of God. Physical evil does not present any insurmountable problems for theism. Man is limited in knowledge and cannot ascertain why God allows each and every case of physical evil. As we looked at before with the yin and the yang, if you had the good and the bad, good and the evil, why did God have to create the universe with evil in it? That is one of the biggest mysteries of the universe. Just to move on, It is this letting go of all doubt that produces freedom and unity with God. It is not trying to conceive of God and his attributes that can get you to his infinite nature. It is the ultimate simplicity of an answer on how to unite with God. It is trying not to try that will get you there. Every time you try to conceive, it creates a limit. To reach God, you must reach the unlimited. It is faith in its purest form. It transcends thought. The miracle is that there is anything at all, considering the infinite impossibility of being. Yet here all is in its grandest form. Here is a quote from William Blake: "To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour." Here's some other quotes. I'll just go through them. From Lucretius, 60 BC, "The whole of nature is of two things built, atoms and void." Here's one from Blaise Pascal: "Man is equally incapable of seeing the nothingness from which he emerges and the infinity in which he is engulfed." Here's one from George Berkeley: "And what are these same evanescent increments? They are neither finite quantities, nor quantities infinitely small, nor yet nothing. May we not call them the ghosts of departed quantities?" I'll keep going through some of these quotes. Rudy Rucker: "The study of infinity is much more than a dry academic game. The intellect pursuit of the absolute infinity is, as George Cantor realized, a form of the soul's quest for God. Whether or not the goal is ever reached, an awareness of the process brings enlightenment." Here's one from Bertrand Russell: "Zeno was concerned with three problems. These are the problem of the infinitesimal, the infinite, and continuity. From his to our own day, the finest intellects of each generation in turn attacked these problems, but achieved, broadly speaking, nothing." William Shakespeare: "I could be bound in a nutshell and count myself a king in infinite space." Leibniz: "I am so in favor of the actual infinite that instead of admitting that nature abhors it, as is commonly said, I hold that nature makes frequent use of it everywhere, in order to show more effectively the perfection of the author." Brahman is the only truth. The spatio-temporal world is an illusion, and there is ultimately no difference between Brahman and individual self. And then finally, Anaximander: "The boundless is the origin of all that is." Just to keep going here, we are all in a state of superposition of potential at all times. It is your choice to take the potential reality and collapse it into an actual reality at any time. We know that the world is infinite, since even a finite number consists of an infinite number of parts. We talked about all of that. Jumping onto the Zen proverb: "A man was being chased by a hungry lion and fell over a cliff. On the way down, he was able to grab hold of a branch." And I'm going to draw this picture. If here's a cliff, a man fell, and he was hanging on right here, and there's a lion coming at him. He looks up and sees the hungry lion. On the way down, he was able to grab onto this branch. Unfortunately, when he looks down, he sees a hungry bear. Hungry bear down here, also waiting for him to fall. As he realizes that there is nowhere to go, he decides to look to his right, where he sees a beautiful ripe strawberry. He again looks up at the hungry lion and then down at the hungry bear. He realizes that he may die. He looks to his right and reaches out and plucks the beautiful strawberry and plops it into his mouth. How delicious. Now, a moment in time is all we have, yet it is continuously fleeting. The human mind, in its limited capacity, perceives reality within a precise moment, one moment at a time. Yet a moment within a moment onto an infinite minuscule of a moment starts to get beyond our perception within itself. There is no point in time in which time actually freezes to say, I am completely understanding or perceiving a moment, since it always can be divided into a smaller fraction of a point in time. Just as we cannot perceive God's existence before the beginning of time into infinity of forever into the past, and then existing into the eternity of time of forever into the future. Moreover, when we say that all we have is time on earth, and specifically a moment in time, it is nothing more than our perception of what that moment is. It has height, width, length, all of which can be measured and verified within the framework of what we call reality. It is that moment in time, within the infinity of time, which has its own significance because it is the only one of its kind. It is infinitely important and significant in its own way, not relative to any other moment. It is what it is, nothing more and nothing less. A moment in time is, through the grace of God, the only thing which we have, could ever want, and will ever need. It is the here and now that we are one with God. According to the author Leo Buscaglia, a life lived for tomorrow will always be just a day away from being realized. And that is the conclusion of Metaphysics of Being. Thank you.